A single father waits alone at a restaurant, stood up on what should have been his first real date in 3 years. But when a stranger in a Powers suit finally walks through the door at 10:18 p.m., she doesn't just apologize. She offers him a career-changing deal that will blur every line between professional ambition and personal vulnerability. What starts as a blind date becomes a collision of two broken worlds trying to rebuild. If you want to see how far love and opportunity can take a man who refused to give up, stay until the very end. Hit that like button and comment your city so I can see how far this story travels. The parking lot of Morello's Italian restaurant was half empty when Liam Carter cut the engine of his faded blue Silverado. Tuesday night in downtown Austin meant quieter streets, softer jazz bleeding through restaurant windows, couples walking hand in hand beneath strings of Edison bulbs that turned the city into something almost romantic. He sat there longer than he should have. His hands rested on the steering wheel, calloused from years of mouse clicks and late nights hunched over design software, and he stared at the warm glow spilling from the restaurant's tall windows. Inside, he could see movement, servers weaving between tables, wine glasses catching candlelight, people laughing at jokes he couldn't hear. He hadn't done this in 3 years. 3 years, 2 months, and 16 days, if he was counting, which he hated that he was. Liam flipped down the visor. Tucked into the edge of the mirror was a crayon drawing, 6-year-old Ava's masterpiece from last Tuesday. 3 stick figures holding hands beneath a crooked sun. Me, Daddy, and Miss Rachel, she'd explained proudly, referring to her kindergarten teacher, who sometimes stayed late when Liam's client calls ran over. He touched the edge of the paper. Just dinner, he muttered to himself. Just see what happens. But his heart was already bracing for disappointment. The check mark turned blue. Read. No response. 9:28 p.m. Couples came and went. A family of 4 settled into the booth beside him, their youngest daughter spilling crayons across the table while her parents ordered wine. Liam watched the little girl draw, her tongue poking out in concentration, and thought of Ava asleep at his sister's house across town. I'm going on a date, he told her that afternoon while braiding her hair. She'd spun around, eyes wide. With who? A friend. Her name's Chloe. Is she nice? I think so. Is she pretty? Liam had laughed. I don't know yet. I've never seen her. Ava had frowned, processing this with the logic of a 6-year-old. Then how do you know you like her? Because she makes me laugh, he'd said. And she asks good questions. Now, sitting alone at a table set for 2, he wondered if that had been enough. 9:45 p.m. The waiter returned, sympathy creeping into his expression. Sir, would you like to order? Liam glanced at the door one more time. Empty. Yeah, he said quietly. I'll take the bolognese. Just one entree. Just one. The waiter nodded and disappeared. Liam leaned back in his chair and exhaled slowly. This was fine. This was expected. 6 weeks of texting didn't mean anything in the real world. People changed their minds. People got scared. People decided that a 35-year-old single dad with a mortgage he could barely afford wasn't worth the effort. He didn't text anything angry, didn't send passive-aggressive emojis or demand explanations. That wasn't who he was anymore. Fatherhood had sanded down his sharper edges, taught him patience, taught him that most things weren't personal, even when they felt that way. He just sat there, ate his pasta, drank his water, watched couples laugh and clink glasses, and lived the kind of easy, uncomplicated lives he used to take for granted. By 10:10 p.m., he'd paid the check. He left a generous tip. The waiter had been kind and stood to leave. That's when the door opened. She stepped inside like she owned the room. Not arrogant, not performative, just certain. A woman in her late 30s, composed and controlled, wearing a tailored ivory suit that looked like it cost more than Liam's truck. Her dark hair was pulled back in a sleek low bun. No jewelry except a thin watch that caught the light as she scanned the restaurant with the practiced deficiency of someone used to assessing situations quickly. Her gaze landed on him. She didn't hesitate. She walked straight toward his table, heels clicking softly against the hardwood floor, and stopped 2 feet away. You're Liam, she said. Not a question. He stood slowly, chair scraping against the floor. Chloe, she nodded once. I'm sorry I'm late. But her tone wasn't apologetic. It was something else. Measured, deliberate, like she was delivering a line she'd rehearsed on the drive over. Liam glanced at the empty chair, at the waiter hovering nearby. at the suit that definitely wasn't a blue dress. I was just leaving, he said carefully. I know. She pulled out the chair and sat down anyway. Please, 5 minutes. He didn't move. Please, she said again. And this time there was something raw beneath the polish. Liam sat. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Chloe folded her hands on the table, fingers laced together, and studied him with the kind of intensity that made Liam feel like he was being appraised. Not judged, just measured. I wasn't sure you'd still be here, she said finally. I wasn't sure I would be either. But you were. I ordered dinner, Liam said. Seemed like a waste to leave. A flicker of something, amusement, respect, crossed her face. Most people would have sent an angry text and left by 9:30. I'm not most people. No, Chloe said softly. You're not. The waiter appeared uncertain. Miss, can I get you whiskey? Chloe said without looking at him. Neat. Whatever's good. He disappeared. Liam leaned forward slightly, elbows on the table. You want to tell me what's going on? Chloe exhaled slowly. She reached up, pulled a pin from her bun, and let her hair fall loose around her shoulders. It was a small gesture, but it changed everything. Softened her edges, made her look less like a boardroom photograph and more like a woman who was tired. I lied to you, she said. Liam's chest tightened. About what? About what I do, he waited. I'm not in corporate strategy, Chloe continued. I mean, technically I am, but that's not the whole truth. She met his eyes. I'm the CEO of Bennett Collective. The name landed like a stone. Liam blinked. The hotel group? Hospitality development. Chloe corrected. Hotels, restaurants, event spaces, 15 properties across Texas, expanding into Colorado next year. He sat back in his chair. He'd seen their logo before. Clean, modern, confident. Bennett Collective was the kind of company that got written about in business magazines, the kind that attracted investors and press coverage and people who spoke in terms of quarterly growth and market positioning. Why didn't you tell me? Liam asked. Because I wanted one space in my life where I wasn't her. Chloe's voice softened. The CEO, the decision maker, the woman who has to have all the answers. She glanced down at her hands. I just wanted to be Chloe. The waiter returned with her whiskey. She took a long sip, then set the glass down carefully. I had a board call tonight, she said. Emergency session. One of our investors is threatening to pull out unless we restructure our Colorado timeline. It started at 7. I thought it'd be quick. She laughed bitterly. Nothing's ever quick. You could have texted, Liam said quietly. I know. Cancelled, rescheduled. I know. So why didn't you? Chloe looked at him then. Really looked at him. And for the first time since she'd walked in, the armor cracked because I was terrified you wouldn't be here when I showed up. The restaurant had emptied around them. Only 2 other tables remained occupied. A couple splitting tiramisu near the window. An older man reading a newspaper over espresso. The kitchen sounds had softened. Somewhere a dishwasher hummed. Liam didn't know what to say. This woman, this CEO, had just confessed to being afraid. Not of failure, not of investors or board meetings or restructuring timelines. Afraid of him not waiting. I looked at your portfolio, Chloe said, changing direction. 3 weeks ago, before we even set this date, Liam frowned. How'd you find it? You mentioned your business name once. Carter Creative Co. She smiled faintly. Google did the rest. He felt his face heat. His portfolio was decent, but small. Local logos, website redesigns for startups that folded within a year. The occasional branding package for someone's cousin's boutique. It's not much, he said. It's excellent, Chloe countered. You see brands the way I wish my executive team did. I design logos. You design clarity. She leaned forward. Most designers try to do too much. They want to impress. They want complexity. You strip things down to their essence. You make companies look like they know exactly who they are. Liam shifted uncomfortably. That's just I don't know. Clean lines, simple concepts. It's more than that. Chloe took another sip of whiskey. Bennett Collective is about to go national. We have investor presentations in 6 weeks. Press coverage. Partnerships with brands that could put us on the map. She paused. But our visual identity looks like it was designed in 2015 by someone's nephew. Despite himself, Liam almost laughed. I've been looking for someone to lead a full rebrand, Chloe continued. Someone who understands how to build a brand that scales without losing its soul. Her gaze held his. And then I met you. You haven't met me, Liam said. We've been texting. Exactly. Chloe set down her glass. Which is why tonight mattered so much. I don't understand. I needed to see what you'd do, she said simply. When I didn't show up, when things didn't go according to plan. She gestured around the empty restaurant. Most people would have bailed, sent angry messages, assumed the worst. And I didn't. No. Chloe's voice softened. You ordered dinner. You stayed calm. You waited. She tilted her head slightly. That tells me how you handle pressure. Liam stared at her. This wasn't a date. This was an audition. You're offering me a job, he said slowly. I'm offering you a contract, Chloe corrected. 6 months, full rebrand, logo, website, marketing collateral, brand guidelines, everything. Enough to triple your annual income. His pulse quickened. Triple his income meant Ava's college fund. It meant fixing the truck's transmission. It meant not lying awake at 3 a.m., wondering if freelancing was sustainable or just prolonged financial suicide. But it also meant something else. It meant this woman had orchestrated tonight as a test. You planned this, Liam said quietly. Chloe didn't deny it. The board call was real, but yes, I could have rescheduled our date. I didn't. She met his eyes. I needed to see who you were when things fell apart. And if I'd left, then you wouldn't have been the right person. Liam pushed back from the table slightly, his mind spinning. That's manipulative. It's strategic. It's dishonest. It's business. Chloe's voice didn't rise, but there was steel beneath it. I don't hire people based on resumes or smooth interviews. I hire people who show me who they are when no one's watching. She leaned forward. You didn't send angry texts. You didn't guilt trip me. You just waited with grace. I waited because I'm a single dad, Liam said, his voice harder now. I've learned patience because I have to. He wanted a wife who'd host dinner parties and manage his social calendar. I wanted to build an empire. She shrugged. Turns out those things don't mix well. No kids? Liam asked. No. Something flickered across her face. Regret maybe. Or relief. I told myself I'd wait until my 30s. Then my 30s became about building the company. Then it became too late. She met his eyes. Or maybe I was just too scared of what? Failing at something that mattered. The honesty landed between them like a shared secret. Liam realized slowly that this wasn't the woman who'd walked in wearing armor 90 minutes ago. This was someone underneath. Someone tired and brilliant and lonely in a way that mirrored his own. Why me? He asked again. Really? You could hire anyone. Big agencies, people with national portfolios. Chloe considered the question. Because big agencies don't understand what it means to build something from scratch, she said finally. They've never had to choose between paying rent or investing in their business. They've never worked until 2 a.m. because that's the only time the house is quiet. She leaned forward. You have. I can see it in your work. Every logo you've designed has intention behind it. Nothing wasted, nothing superficial. She paused. That's what Bennett Collective needs right now. Not flash, not trends, just clarity. Liam felt something shift inside him. A door he'd kept closed for 3 years creaking open. If I say yes, he began carefully. This stays professional. Boundaries, clear expectations. Agreed. And I need flexibility. I have a 6-year-old. School events, sick days. I can't drop everything for last-minute meetings. Understood. And I'm not relocating. I work from home. Always have. Chloe nodded. Most of the collaboration can be remote. We'll need face-to-face sessions for major milestones, but I can work around your schedule. Liam studied her. This woman had spent 2 hours defending her choices, explaining her vision, meeting him where he was instead of demanding he rise to meet her. Okay, he said finally. Chloe blinked. Okay, let's talk details now. The details came fast. 6-month contract, fixed rate, plus performance bonuses tied to investor response. Full creative control with final approval from Chloe, flexible hours, remote work, quarterly in-person strategy sessions in Austin. They shook hands across the table, her grip firm, professional, but warm. I'll have my legal team send over the contract by Friday, Chloe said. I'll review it over the weekend. She smiled. A real smile this time. Not the polished version from earlier. Thank you, Liam. For what? For waiting. He didn't know what to say to that. They walked out together into the cool October night. The street was quiet now. Most of the restaurants closed, the Edison bulb swaying gently in the breeze. Chloe's car was parked near the corner, a sleek black Tesla that looked like it belonged in a magazine spread. Liam's truck sat 3 spaces down, dented and loyal. That's you? Chloe asked, nodding toward the Silverado. That's me. She laughed softly. I like it. Liar. No, really, She turned to face him. It's honest. They stood there for a moment, the city humming quietly around them. Good night, Liam, Chloe said. Good night. She walked toward her car, heels clicking against pavement. Liam climbed into his truck, started the engine, and sat there for a moment, hands on the wheel. His phone buzzed. Chloe, I meant what I said. Thank you for staying. He typed back slowly. Liam, I meant what I said, too. This stays professional. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Chloe, of course. Good night, Liam. He drove home through empty streets, past sleeping houses and flickering street lights, and thought about the woman who'd walked into a restaurant 90 minutes late and changed everything. When he pulled into his driveway, his sister's car was still parked outside. He found her asleep on the couch. Ava curled against her side, both of them bathed in the soft glow of a muted TV. Liam stood in the doorway and watched his daughter breathe. 6 years old, blonde curls spilling across the cushions, one small hand clutching her favorite stuffed rabbit. She was his entire world. And now maybe he had a chance to give her more than just scraped-together stability. He thought about Chloe's question. What was it like balancing work and fatherhood? Hard, he'd said, but tonight had been something else. Tonight had been possibility. He carried Ava to her room, tucked her in, kissed her forehead. Love you, baby girl, he whispered. She stirred slightly, mumbled something about crayons, and fell back asleep. Liam stood there in the dark, listening to her breathe, and made a promise. Whatever this contract brought, money, opportunity, complications, he wouldn't lose sight of what mattered. Ava came first, always. But maybe, just maybe, there was room for something else, too. The contract arrived on Thursday, not Friday. Liam was making breakfast when the email notification chimed. Scrambled eggs burning slightly in the pan while Ava insisted her toast needed to be exactly medium brown, not dark brown, Daddy. He wiped his hands on a dish towel and opened his laptop with one elbow while flipping the eggs with the other. The subject line read, Bennett Collective, Brand Development Agreement. Attached was a 43-page PDF that looked like it had been drafted by lawyers who charged by the semicolon. He skimmed the first few pages. Compensation structure, timeline, deliverables. Confidentiality clause is dense enough to require a legal dictionary. His phone buzzed. Chloe sent it early. My team moves fast. Take your time reviewing. No pressure. Liam stared at the message. I'm not going to fight over 12 months versus 18. Liam, most CEOs would. Chloe, I'm not most CEOs. He smiled despite himself. Liam, I'm signing it this weekend. We start Monday. Chloe, if you're ready. Liam, I'm ready. Chloe, good. I'll have my team send over the brand audit and current assets. See you Monday at 10 o'clock. My office. Liam, I thought we were working remote. Chloe, we are. After the kickoff meeting, she sent an address downtown at Gut's 18th floor. Liam stared at his phone. Monday at 10 a.m., he'd walk into the offices of Bennett Collective as their lead brand designer. No more scraping by on coffee shop logos. No more 3 a.m. panic attacks about rent. Just a real contract, real money, real stakes. He should have felt relieved. Instead, he felt terrified. Monday morning came too fast. Liam stood in front of his closet at 7 a.m., staring at a row of shirts that all looked vaguely the same. Button-downs in shades of gray and blue. One blazer he'd worn to CLA's funeral and never touched again. Daddy, why are you so fancy? He turned. Ava stood in the doorway wearing mismatched pajamas and holding her stuffed rabbit by one ear. I have a meeting, he said. With the lady? Yeah, with Chloe. Ava climbed onto his bed and watched him button a charcoal shirt. Are you nervous? A little. Why? Because it's important. She considered this with the gravity of someone twice her age. Miss Rachel says if you're nervous, you should take deep breaths. Liam smiled. Miss Rachel's very smart. And you should picture everyone in their underwear. I don't think that applies here, baby. Machete. He dropped Ava off at school 20 minutes early. She complained the whole way and made it downtown by 9:30. Parking cost $18. The elevator to the 18th floor smelled like expensive cologne and anxiety. Bennett Collective's offices were exactly what he'd expected. Glass walls, minimalist furniture, a reception desk made of reclaimed wood and brushed steel, abstract art that probably cost more than his truck, the kind of space designed to intimidate anyone who didn't belong. The receptionist smiled warmly. You must be Liam Carter. That's me. Miss Bennett is expecting you. Conference room be down the hall, Second door on your left. He walked slowly, taking in the details. Framed photos of Bennett properties line the hallways. Sleek hotels with rooftop pools, rustic event spaces with exposed brick, restaurants that looked like they belonged in magazines. The conference room was smaller than he'd expected. A long table, 8 chairs, a wall of windows overlooking downtown Austin. Chloe sat at the far end, laptop open, reading glasses perched on her nose. She looked up when he entered. Liam, right on time. She stood and crossed the room. Today, she wore a slate blue dress and heels that made her nearly his height. Her handshake was firm, professional, exactly like the one from Tuesday night. But her smile was different, softer. How was traffic? She asked. Fine. Parking was brutal. I'll validate your ticket. She gestured toward the table. Coffee, water, coffee black. She poured from a carafe on the sideboard and handed him a mug with the Bennett Collective logo. A clean geometric design that looked dated the moment he saw it. Chloe caught his expression. That bad? It's fine. Liar. He laughed despite himself. Okay, it's not great. That's why you're here. She sat down and opened a folder. I had my team pull together everything we have. Current logo, website screenshots, marketing materials, social media templates. She slid the folder across the table. Fair warning, it's a mess. Liam flipped through the pages. She wasn't wrong. The logo looked like it had been designed by committee. Too many elements competing for attention. Colors that didn't quite work together. Typography that screamed 2014. The website was cluttered. The social media graphics were inconsistent. Nothing felt cohesive. This is fixable, he said. I was hoping you'd say that. For the next hour, they talked strategy. Chloe walked him through Bennett Collective's history, started 8 years ago with a single boutique hotel in San Antonio, grown through acquisitions and partnerships, now poised for national expansion. She spoke with precision and passion, hands moving as she described her vision. We're not trying to be Marriott, she said. We're not chasing scale for scale's sake. Every property has a story, a sense of place. I want the brand to reflect that. Liam took notes. So, authenticity over polish. Exactly. Warmth without being folksy. Yes. Confidence without arrogance. Chloe leaned back in her chair. You get it? I do. She studied him for a moment, head tilted slightly. You're different than I expected. How so? Most designers would have walked in here with a pitch deck and a mood board. You walked in with questions. I don't know your company yet, Liam said simply. Can't design something meaningful without understanding what it means. Chloe smiled, the kind of smile that reached her eyes. This is going to work, she said quietly. They broke for lunch at noon. Chloe ordered salads from a place downstairs. Kale and quinoa for her, chicken Caesar for him. They ate in her office, a corner suite with floor-to-ceiling windows that made the city look small and manageable. Tell me about Ava, Chloe said, spearing a piece of avocado. Liam looked up, surprised. What about her? How's she handling you taking on a big project? She doesn't really know yet. I told her I'm working with a client. You didn't mention me. She asked if you were nice, Liam admitted. Chloe raised an eyebrow. And I said, I thought so. Glowing review, he smiled. She's 6. Her approval rating system is based entirely on whether you bring snacks. Chloe laughed. A real laugh, unguarded. I'll remember that. They ate in comfortable silence for a moment. Then Chloe asked, what was she like, your wife? The question landed softly, but Liam felt it anyway. Claire was steady, he said after a pause. I was the dreamer. She was the one who made sure we paid bills on time and remembered dentist appointments. He set down his fork. She would have loved this. Me taking a big contract. She always believed I could do more than local logos. She sounds wonderful. She was. Chloe nodded slowly. I'm sorry you lost her. Me too. Another silence settled between them. Not awkward, just present. Can I ask you something? Liam said. Of course. Why'd your marriage really end? Chloe blinked, caught off guard. I told you we wanted different things. That's the polite version. She considered him for a long moment, then set down her fork. He cheated, she said simply. 6 months in with his assistant. Very original. Her voice stayed even, but something sharp flickered beneath it. I found out because she sent me flowers on our anniversary. Thought they were from him. The card said, thanks for last night. Liam winced. Christ. I filed for divorce the next day. He tried to fight it. Said it was a mistake. She didn't mean anything. Chloe's jaw tightened. But the problem wasn't the affair. The problem was that he thought I'd forgive it because I was supposed to be the understanding wife. And you're not. No, she met his eyes. I'm not. Liam respected that. Do you trust anyone? He asked quietly. Chloe paused. I trust people who show me who they are, not people who tell me. And what did I show you? She smiled faintly. That you're patient. That you don't quit when things get hard. That you value integrity over ego. You got all that from me waiting at a restaurant. I got that from you not sending angry texts when you had every right to. Liam shook his head. You're giving me too much credit. Maybe. Or maybe you're not giving yourself enough. But by 3:00 p.m., they'd outlined the project roadmap. Phase 1, brand discovery and strategy. Interviews with Chloe's executive team. Competitive analysis, defining core values and brand personality. Phase 2, visual identity development, logo concepts, color palettes, typography systems. Phase 3, implementation, website redesign, marketing materials, brand guidelines. 6 months, ambitious but achievable. Chloe walked him to the elevator when they finished. I'll send over contact info for my leadership team, she said. You'll need to interview them individually, get their perspectives. Sounds good. And Liam, he turned. Thank you, she said, for saying yes. You're paying me well. I should be thanking you. It's not about the money. Chloe's expression softened. I needed someone who'd care about this the way I do. Someone who wouldn't just phone it in. I don't know how to phone it in. I know. She smiled. That's why I hired you. The elevator dinged. Doors slid open. Liam stepped inside and turned to face her. See you next week? He asked. See you next week. The doors closed. He rode down 18 floors alone, his reflection staring back at him from polished steel, and wondered when exactly this had stopped feeling like just a job. The interviews started Wednesday. First up was Marcus Chun, Bennett Collective's chief operating officer. Mid-40s precise, the kind of man who color-coded his calendar and answered emails at 5 a.m. They met in a conference room. Marcus had prepared a 40-slide presentation. Bennett Collective operates on 3 core principles. Marcus began, clicking to the first slide. Operational excellence, strategic growth, guest satisfaction. Liam took notes. By slide 20, he'd learned more about occupancy rates and revenue per available room than he ever wanted to know. What does Bennett Collective mean to you personally? Liam asked during a pause. Marcus blinked. What do you mean? Not the metrics, not the strategy. What does this company represent? Marcus looked uncomfortable. I'm not sure I understand the question. If Bennett Collective was a person, who would it be? That's not really my area. Liam tried a different angle. Why do you work here? Because Chloe runs a tight ship. Clear expectations. Room for advancement. Not because you believe in the mission. Marcus frowned. The mission is profitability. Liam made a note. Disconnect between operations and brand purpose. Next was Rachel Okonkwo, VP of Guest Experience. Early 30s, warm. The kind of person who remembered birthdays and sent handwritten thank you notes. Bennett Collective is about making people feel seen, Rachel said immediately. Every guest, every interaction, we're not just selling hotel rooms, we're selling memories. What's the best memory you've witnessed? Liam asked. Rachel's face lit up. Last year, a couple got engaged at our property in Fredericksburg. The guy had been planning it for months. He coordinated with our staff, arranged a private dinner on the patio. When he proposed, our chef sent out champagne and dessert. She smiled. The woman cried. The whole staff was crying. It was perfect. Well, that's what Bennett Collective should feel like, Liam said. Exactly. He made another note. Lead with emotion, not features. Third interview was David Park, Chief Financial Officer. Late 50s, skeptical, clearly annoyed at having to explain himself to a graphic designer. I don't understand why we're doing this, David said flatly. Our current brand works fine. Your investor deck says otherwise. David's expression hardened. Who told you that? Chloe mentioned you're expanding nationally, competing with bigger brands. That requires stronger visual identity. It requires capital and execution, not prettier logos. Liam leaned back. Do you like working here? What kind of question is that? A simple one, David sighed. You too. After they hung up, Liam sat in his dark living room, laptop glowing, and stared at the notes he'd compiled. Somewhere between the interviews and the late-night phone call, this had stopped being just a contract. It had become something else, something that felt dangerously close to personal. 2 weeks into the project, Chloe invited him to visit one of the properties. You need to see what we do in person, she said over video call, not just read about it. They chose the Bennett Hotel in Dripping Springs, a renovated ranch 40 minutes west of Austin, boutique and intimate. 23 rooms wrapped around a central courtyard. Liam drove out on a Saturday morning. Ava was with his sister for the weekend, giving him rare, uninterrupted work time. Chloe was waiting in the lobby when he arrived. She wore jeans and a white linen shirt, the most casual he'd seen her. No heels, no suit, just effortless elegance that made his breath catch slightly. You made it, she said. Traffic wasn't bad. She smiled. Come on, I'll show you around. They walked through the property slowly. She pointed out details he wouldn't have noticed. Reclaimed wood from the original barn, local art on every wall, handmade soaps in the bathrooms sourced from an Austin collective. Every choice is intentional, Chloe explained. We're not trying to be trendy. We're trying to be authentic. They stopped in the courtyard. String lights hung between live oak trees. A stone fire pit sat at the center, surrounded by Adirondack chairs. This is where people connect, Chloe said. Strangers become friends. Couples remember why they fell in love. Families slow down. Liam pulled out his phone and took photos. Not for reference. Just because the light was beautiful. What are you thinking? Chloe asked that your brand should feel like this place feels, which is warm, grounded, like coming home. She looked at him for a long moment. That's exactly right, she said softly.